So, you finally finished your Warhammer army and won the war against the Grey. Nice work. I'm proud of you. Yeah, me too. But now what? How are you going to store your plastic soldiers? And even more importantly, how are you going to get those sick minis out of your mother's basement and over your friendly local game store to get a game in? Hey there, Nick with CC Minis here, and today I'm going to show you the best way to store and transport your tiny, teeny plastic dolls.
Hey, they're called mini!
Oh, whatever. And best of all, I'm going to show you how to do this without breaking the bank. In fact, here in a bit, I'm going to show you how I made this DIY army transport, which fits about 3,500 points of my Nurgle army, for less than the cost of this single mini. Is that right? Jeez, these have gotten expensive. Let's start out with what you want to avoid. Sure, you can just pile all your minis in a box, throw them in the back of your car, and peel off down the road. But then your minis lack the protection they need, and may end up looking like a pile of colorful bits when you get there. What's commonly recommended by our overlords at Big Foam are these pick and pull style army transport cases. Do not get these. I mean, sure, they're safer than whatever this is, but foam transports are notorious for snapping off spiky bits and rubbing away layers of paint. What you really need is some magic. Wait, I meant magnets. These little mysterious stones and bits of metal are the key to storing and transporting minis safely. What you're going to want to do is glue some to your mini bases. One should do it for these guys, but if you have anything with 40mm bases or larger, I recommend 2, or even 3 for these really big boys. There is a bit of a trick to gluing these on though. If you just place down a dot of glue and put a magnet on top, it may work for a bit, but the magnet might fall off after some use. What I recommend is to put the magnet on a drop, then do another drop or 2 on top to envelop the magnet and hold it in place better. Kind of like a magnet sandwich. Well, maybe more like a magnet Wellington? A pinch of pixie dust helps the glue dry quicker, but if you don't have any of that on hand, baking powder will do just fine. If you're going to go out and get magnets, I recommend getting either rare earth or neodymium magnets. I think that's how it's called. You can usually get these in bulk on Amazon. It's like 10 bucks for 100, even cheaper if you go on like Alibaba, but you might have to wait a while for those to get delivered. Alright, I've got some magnets on my minis. Now what? Well, you're gonna need a box, but not just any box. You're gonna need a ferrous box, which is basically a box that magnets will stick to. For small to medium-sized armies, you can't go wrong with one of these. A humble brownie tray or roast pan. Now these can typically be purchased for about 10 bucks at like a store. And I do recommend going to the store with, a couple magnets or a magnetized mini just to make sure the one you're getting is ferrous, because not all of them are. Some are like aluminum, which doesn't work. These things are sweet. They even have a nice lid to protect your army from the top. And they can stack too. But what if your army is too big, or has models too tall for one of these? Well then, you're gonna need the DIY option. Go to Target and get one of these, a stackable plastic bin. Or you can get one of these from an office supply store. They're called plastic file storage boxes, and they're pretty cheap. If you can't find exactly one of these options, that's totally okay. Just make sure the sides are nice and flat on the inside. If they have those weird Tupperware style grooves, it'll be a bit harder later on. And that's because we're gonna be gluing on some of these pups. These are called galvanized steel step flashing shingles, and magnets stick to them pretty darn well. Now I have absolutely no idea what these are used for, but they're cheap as chips, about 90 cents each at a big box hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot. Just make sure you don't get any like aluminum ones though, magnets won't stick to those. To adhere the shingle flashing to the box interior, we're going to use a wombo combo of 2 different types of glue. This is a technique that I'm shamelessly stealing from my man Tino over at the channel Craftastrophe. I'll put a link to his channel down below. Go check him out for some endless inspiration and fantastic, hysterical crafting videos. We're going to use 1 fast adhesive, in this case hot glue from a glue gun, to get the panels to stick right away, as well as 1 stronger but slower adhesive to lock them in place long term. For this I'm going to use 2-part epoxy glue. Here's the thing though. Do this outside. This epoxy smells worse than Grandpapa Nurgle's favorite pustule. It smells like death and is probably considered chemical warfare. Definitely wear gloves too. This is not good for your skin or any other part of your body. And I cannot stress this enough. Do this outside. Don't Don't be like me. I glued these down side by side, and when I got to the point where the next panel would overlap, I marked out how wide I wanted it to be with permanent marker. Then used another panel as a straight edge to complete the line. Then used a pair of scissors to cut right down the line. I'm using fabric scissors here, which, according to my wife, are absolutely not supposed to cut metal. And also they're hers. And how dare I steal her things? Sorry, boo. Love you. Watch yourself for the edges of these shingles, by the way. They'll bite you, especially any of the edges that you cut up with scissors. Don't worry though, we'll take the edge off of these in a bit. First though, let's get the rest of the panels on. While I say a word about today's sponsor, I don't have a sponsor, but what I have is even better, my patrons. Thank you all so much for supporting me despite my wildly inconsistent upload schedule. I really wouldn't be able to do this without you all. Thank you so much. If you'd like to support the channel, the absolute best way you can is by joining my Patreon. There's going to be a link down there in the description, but if that's just not your style, well, there's a like button down there too, and that helps a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said earlier, the edges of these are a little bit sharp, and the panels themselves are a bit too slick. A bit of shimming and shaking makes them all kind of slide down the edge, which we want to avoid if we can. And there's one other big issue: the looks. Peering through the looking glass of this clear plastic, the glue looks like ectoplasm. To fix these issues, I whipped out some sandpaper to start sanding down the box, and brought it outside for a coat of textured spray paint. While I do that, let's quickly tally up the spend on this project. We have the plastic bin at $12 even, the stinky toxic glue was $5.54, and we used up 14 pieces of galvanized shingle flashing, which are 74 cents a pop if you purchase them in packs of 10. Lastly, the textured spray paint I am using was an additional $6. All this totals up to $34.11, which ain't too bad seeing this sloppy biopiper cost me a whopping $35 all by himself. Jeez, I really need to get back to some scratch builds. Alright, let's get to the reveal. And here we have it, a box. A great box. A special box. A box for my tiny plastic dudes. I took this out for a game and I can easily fit my full 3,500 point Nurgle army in here without worrying about breaking it on the way to my friendly local game store. But then again, if you do end up breaking any of your toys, you can do some pretty cool stuff with them. And if you want to see how, you can watch this video right here. As always, stay healthy y'all, and take care. Bye. Is that good?
That was the best one.
One more.